If you haven't seen any of my no buy videos this year, you may not realize that I am on a no buy year. I'm 5 months in, I've got 7 months left. End of September is my kind of end goal. And today I wanted to share with you 10 things I'm not buying this year because as part of my no buy, I've just kind of expanded it a little bit more. It was mainly fashion, shoes, kind of clothing, all those kinds of things. But I just thought, I'm spending a lot of money in my day to day life that I really don't need to be spending. And there are probably other areas that I can expand my no buy into. So that's exactly what I did in January. So I'm going to share 10 areas that I am not shopping in or 10 things I'm not buying. And maybe you don't need to either. So number one is no new clothing. And this also includes no secondhand clothing. So not just new, but new to me. I'm not buying any clothing. I haven't even allowed myself to buy like replacement items yet because I just don't feel like they're needed. I have given myself that option to replace something if it tears or breaks or whatever, but I kind of don't want to use that yet because I feel like that's cheating a little bit, or I feel like once I buy one replacement, I might just spiral a little bit. So I'm really waiting for that piece that really needs replacing, and then I might. So, for example, my Converse are like totally battered, like this is the sole, and I still haven't replaced them. I've had them for years, and I think I probably should at this stage. But that's just an example of something that I could replace, but I am currently still wearing for now just to see how much I can push it. Number two is no new shoes or accessories or jewelry or anything that falls into that accessories category. I think the only thing I bought in winter was a pair of gloves. That was kind of the end of last year. So I don't need to buy anything new this year. However, I did lose my favorite acne scarf that I bought 2 years ago, and I had been eyeing up a replacement for that. So I will allow myself that replacement item, but I think coming into spring, I don't need to kind of, I don't think I need to replace it right now. I think maybe at the end of the year I can, and that'll be at the end of my no buy anyway. Number three, I don't need any new pajamas or underwear or anything like that. And I think I usually want to buy pajamas and underwear out of a feeling of trying to make myself feel better or trying to make myself feel like a new version of me, which never really works anyway, does it? So I'm just making do with what I have. I have enough pajamas. I have enough underwear to see me through at least a week to do a wash and then, go on rotation. So I don't need anything like that. I feel like sometimes like new underwear is a little bit of a self-esteem boost more than anything, but I'm trying to work on those things and not always rely on clothing and new purchases to give myself those dopamine hits or that kind of confidence boost. Number four is no new skincare products. This one's going really well. I am allowing myself replacements because obviously if I run out of something, I like to wear makeup and I like to do nice skincare. So I am going to want to replace them. However, I'm not going out and buying anything extra that I don't already have or that I don't need. I'm not going to duplicate products. So recently I replaced my concealer. I ran out of the one I was using and I replaced it with like a cleaner version, like a more natural product from Beauty Pie. So I'm super excited about and I have it on today and I think it looks great. I'm really excited about doing skincare and beauty in that way, as in like a waste something and then replace it, or not waste it, but use it up and then replace it, and also replace it with a more like chemical free, cleaner beauty product. That's my new kind of direction for my skincare and my makeup. But I think the same thing with makeup is like sometimes I like to buy a new lip color to be like, ooh, I'm a new version of me, when I'm really not. And to be honest, I kind of just like the colors that I already have. Number five is one of the hardest ones for me, I think, and it's no new books. So this one's difficult because I like to read a lot and I always have some personal development books on the go, and I have lots of those that are unfinished. And that was the whole point of adding in this category, was because I have too many books that I haven't finished or haven't even read yet. And I need to work my way through them. But I also love to have a novel on the go on the side. So I guess it's a tricky one because once I finish one novel, I don't tend to hang on to novels that much because I either like gift it to someone else or, donate it or whatever, because I don't think I'm going to read it again. So I don't have a backlog of those to get through. But I'm trying my best. I already was thinking I have a flight next weekend. I need a good novel to read while I'm on holidays. And then I'm thinking, I Don't need to read a novel. I could just read nonfiction. Got plenty of that. So we'll see how well I do with my whole no buy for books. I may allow myself to get gifts of books, so like birthday or something like that, because I love a good novel. I love to just delve into somebody else's story. Number six is another difficult one for me, and that was stationery, notebooks, and like basically miscellaneous stationery. And I almost fell into the trap a few weeks ago where I was like, I'm just going to go buy a new notebook and write lists and change my whole life because that's what lists do, right? So then I was like, no, I could probably just go buy or just like go and pull out my drawer of notebooks that I have or get a scrap piece of paper or write a note on my phone. It doesn't always need to be physical, it can be digital. That was one of the things I wanted to try to do more of, was more digital documents over always writing in a physical notebook. I say as I sit with my notebook right here. But as you can see, I have a big enough notebook to put many, many lists in. So I definitely don't need any more this year. And I think I might have to extend that one beyond 2024 as well. Number seven is things for my fantasy self. So I kind of mentioned, like in a few of those points, buying things to be a different version of me. Your fantasy self is kind of like, it is a different version of you, but it's almost like a version that you never become or you never have the opportunity to be. It's like if you never go out for nice dinners or fancy evenings, or you don't go clubbing, but you buy a load of clothing for those events. You might wish you did those things, but you don't actually do them. So why are you buying clothing for them? Or, I don't know, like it doesn't always have to be clothing. It could be just like makeup. Maybe you've got like such a range of like eyeshadows and lipsticks and you actually never wear them. You wish you were the kind of person who did that sort of makeup, but you never actually do. You buy them with the intention and then you never do it. Or I am a great one for buying a new sketchbook and some paints, and I'm like, I'm gonna paint, I'm gonna get back into painting, I really miss it. And I paint one painting and then the sketchbook just sits there for months. That is one of the things, was like those little hobbies. So sometimes it's clothing, sometimes it's, skincare, beauty, sometimes it's hobby things. And then sometimes it's like baking utensils. Like, I'm going to start baking, I'm going to buy all this stuff. And then you don't actually start baking. So I think a great way to do this is to, if you have an aspiration like this, start with what you have. And once you get into that, then you can maybe buy a few things. So say it's baking and you're like, right, well, I can just bake with, a bowl that I already own. I don't need to have a fancy baking bowl. But if I bake for the next 2 months, then I'll buy myself a baking bowl or an apron or a nicer whisk. Things like that, that kind of way. And you can apply that to your wardrobe as well. If you are wishing you went out more and had, more dressy events to go to, start going to those events first. Maybe you can borrow some outfits from a friend, or rent them. And then if you do start, upping your social life a bit more, then you can start buying outfits for those occasions. Number eight, I am not buying candles. One is because I find it really difficult to buy like organic candles that just aren't full of chemicals, because majority of the fragrance is chemicals and then you're just burning chemicals into the air and breathing them in, which is not ideal. And like I mentioned, my beauty and my skincare, I'm trying to rid myself and my life of chemicals a little bit more. um so not buying candles is a good place to start as well. Also because most candles that are really nice come in a really nice jar, and once you burn them down, you're left with this jar. Then you're kind of like, what are you going to do with it? So I like the idea of diffusing essential oils instead. They're more natural, they spread the fragrance around, you're not wasting anything because you're not left with like a jar and a bunch of wax that just never burns properly. um and also candles is another kind of impulse purchase for me when I'm like, I just need a new candle to change my life again. Number nine is takeaway coffees. Now, I've actually been doing really well with this, which is surprising because, like last year, I was getting one or two coffees a day in Pret because I had a Pret subscription. And then I just canceled my subscription and I was like, I'm not getting coffees on the go anymore. Again, that whole idea of having those like paper cups is not sustainable. Drinking through plastic lids, not good for your health. It's just a lot of coffee that I don't need, even though most of the time it was decaf. So now we got a coffee machine for Christmas for ourselves. So now I make coffee at home in the morning. I take it with me in my keep cup. I have coffee at work. And if I go out for a coffee, it's to sit in, it's to actually enjoy the experience of going for a coffee, meeting someone for coffee, or sitting in a cafe for like an hour, writing lists in a notebook that I already own, and just, having more of an experience than just a kind of grab and go coffee. Because to be honest, I was finding I was spending money on it every month, but there was no experience, there was no enjoyment in it. And number 10 is takeaways. So I'm also trying to eat a lot healthier. So adding takeaways into my no buy has been really beneficial because it just means I'm not wasting money on unhealthy and possibly greasy food. I live right across the road from a really good fish and chip shop. There's a really good burger place down the road, pizza place, really good Chinese. I am surrounded by really good takeaways, and we have enjoyed them over the last 2 years of living here. But it's just too easy to not want to cook and then just go for a takeaway. So I'm just really trying to cook a lot more at home. I do most of the time anyway, but just kind of like taking away that option for myself. And it's just making me eat a lot more healthily. So apart from having healthier finances, I'm also going to have a healthier body in the end. I would love to know what areas of your no buy you're dedicating your time to, what other things that you're not buying that maybe I haven't considered yet. So let me know what those things are. I would love to know. I honestly could talk about my no buy year all day long. If you haven't subscribed yet, because I know a lot of you who watch my videos are not actual subscribers, so if you do enjoy these kinds of videos, be sure to subscribe. I've got lots more of them to come. And if you enjoy watching videos about style, personal style, capsule wardrobes, I've got a lot of those as well. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. I've got lots more videos about my no buys here if you want to see my latest update and also just get some tips on how to do a really successful no buy. I'll talk to you all really soon in my next video.